lighting people. Women in Lighting and Design is an organization whose origins date back to the 1990s and involves some lighting legend founders, including Barbara Bouyer and Janet Nolan. In the last couple of years, Wild has experienced a bit of a resurgence as its programs are growing in popularity, and seemingly there's a new chapter being announced every month or two. So we thought this would be a good time to catch up with Lauren Dunn, a senior marketing professional with HLB Lighting, who also recently led the implementation of a Wild rebrand. Lauren, hello, and thank you for joining us today for 5 big questions.
Hi, Al. Happy to be here.
Lauren, so happy that you are here. And Wild has been around for decades, but it's had a bit of a resurgence in the last couple of years. What would you describe as the main attributes and benefits that Wild brings to its membership?
So what I love about Wild is that it offers community despite our competition. As you know, lighting is a pretty competitive and relationship-driven industry. Some of my strongest connections that I have in lighting I've made throughout the years are with women that are supposed to be my competitors. They were first identified that way. But we're an organization for everyone. You know, women, they're allies, competitors are not. We hold space for really tough topics and conversations. We don't try to tiptoe around them. And as you know, we've had a lot of tough topics to pull from in the past couple of years. So I love that about Wild as well. And we like to not only tackle those conversations, but keep them open, keep them going. And I think that that really creates an impactful organization and has people very curious about what we're doing and really energized to keep moving it forward and continuing to grow.
Well, I love that sense of collegiality that you described, even when it involves a competitor, because in the end, people are people and you share some of the same opportunities and challenges in this industry. So that's fantastic. And when you consider some of those programs you mentioned, they do tackle tough topics, but they do it in an informative and usually a positive way. One of the popular topics from last year in 2021 was a salary survey that you did and then reported on the results. For those that didn't absorb everything from that salary survey that you folks did, what were two or three of some of the main takeaways that you folks reported out on that?
Well, as you said, yeah, it's a tough topic. I wouldn't say that there were a lot of surprising details in there. One being that men outperform and outgrow women a lot in the workplace. One staggering statistic was that men earn more than 50% of women in some cases, but that was not necessarily the focus, just the only focus of this event. You know, more positive takeaways is that when it comes to closing the gap in those inequity in pay, was tools and tips on how to negotiate higher earnings or benefits and other ways that you can advance your career, which one really big takeaway is advancing your career through mentorship, which we obviously provide at Wild. And again, not just with women, but our allies. It's another reason, it revealed that it's another reason that that's why women seek out other women as leaders, for just a little bit of that empath, you know, I've been in your shoes, relatability that really helps people feel connected to their job and when they're negotiating and their future there. And it's a nice content that puts the focus on that community aspect.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's one thing to report out on salary survey that might not show great information for the female gender in this industry, but when you wrap it up in tips and business strategies to help improve the female position, that brings value, and a lot of value, I know, to your membership. Speaking of your membership, it seems like there's new chapters popping up all the time. When you consider how many cities have chapters right now, how many do you have? Are there any that are on the short-term horizon? And what do you attribute to all that growth?
Yes, we currently have 14 chapters, probably 16 in a month, and we're hoping to reach 20 by the end of 22, which is super exciting. We're specifically looking for someone to start a chapter in Boston, if you know anyone. And we're currently starting up both Detroit and Atlanta right now, which is exciting. So when Atlanta does form, Al, you can attend those events. And what's even more exciting is that our chapters are starting to grow with international support. So we have 2 popping up in Canada, which is really awesome. And I think as far as that growth aspect is concerned, we got to give a lot of credit to all the lighting organizations that are out there. You know, I like that there are a lot of options and that they each support individual things. But what, again, I like about Wild is that we put focus on the people in lighting, not the lighting itself. And that's refreshing. You know, we can only do so much lighting in our day. It's nice to kind of break that up. And I think that that's what draws people to it. I know it's what drew me to it 5 years ago. And I loved having that local support system that is also spreading across the nation. It's intimate and widespread. And I think that that just keeps the momentum and the intrigue going with our growth all around.
Well, yeah, the results show that. And I know when I consider attending an in-person meeting for any industry organization, I typically look at, what content is being presented, and then who are the people that might be there. And that collegiality and the good programs you're putting together can help drive the benefits at that local level, as you described. So that's fantastic. And when you consider your personal involvement in the lighting industry, you're in the lighting industry in a marketing capacity. And Wild recently tapped into your expertise to help a rebrand. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So what's been really fun is kind of growing into ourselves in the past year, really since summer, where we started to formalize as a national board of directors. I sit on that board, as you said, in a marketing capacity. And I put a little bit of attention to the fact that, our voice is becoming a little bit clouded with every growth spurt. I would kind of relate that to imagine going into a building and calling out for different color temperatures. That's how I was seeing things, a little bit ununited. And knowing that we're continuing to grow, I really wanted to push everyone to grow on that united front. So when we formed that board of directors, we decided that rebranding was going to be a big part of that. So over the past several months, we've worked to finalize and update our branding standards. You'll see some new colors, some new fonts, but also most importantly, an updated logo, which is going to kind of signify a new era for us. We are growing. We're still going to be the same amazing organization, but one that will kind of show unity throughout the nation, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I follow a number of your local sections or chapters on social media, and then I also follow your national organization. There is some commonality, but also some differences. So seeing that formulate into more of a widespread branding is only a good thing, and it shows that you folks are growing and creating a brand for this organization that seems to be doing so many good things for the industry. So as you look forward into what Wild will accomplish in the next year or two, what does the organization have its sights set on for short-term goals that you might want to bring forth to the membership?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, we put together a board of directors, and that is a term that's usually held for nonprofits. And that's because we're forming a nonprofit. We're currently writing our bylaws and going through all the emotions and motions of becoming a 501c3. Really, this is going to provide a lot of structure around Wild. That's going to set up proper succession. That's going to give proper resources to boots on the ground in the chapter level. If we're supporting by a national level. So through this, we're going to have more focus with the board on the industry at large. We'll be providing more robust programs around parenting, sexual harassment, diversity and inclusion, and more robust mentorship than that organic mentorship that we already provide. So kind of to wrap all that up, we're going to have eventually later this year, a new website to reflect that new branding and to show all of the resources that we've collected so many over the years. And we want it to be a solid resource for our members to constantly go back to and to continue that community and allyship.
Hey, that's fantastic. Glad to see the structure. It's setting up for future growth. And if someone, my 5 questions are up, but if someone wanted to get involved in Wild as attending a program or as a volunteer, what should they do, Lauren?
The easiest way to do it is to send us an email at womenandlightingdesign@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram, any of our chapters. But really, they could probably just call you a worst case scenario. But we look forward to welcoming anyone to be involved in Wild.
That's fantastic. Well, you can count on me attending an event or two in your Atlanta chapter when that gets set up. And really, congratulations on everything that your organization is doing. And we wish you continued success. Thank you for joining us today for 5 Big Questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Al.
Hey there, we really enjoyed that discussion. We hope that you did as well. Be sure to click that big LED logo next to me, and what that'll do is subscribe you to our YouTube channel so you don't miss the next 5 Big Questions interview. And YouTube subscribers always receive an early preview to the next interview before we even post it on the Inside Lighting website. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.